All right, great set of talks so far. Can everybody hear me all right?
Yes.
Okay, good stuff. All right, so some of you already know me. I'm Janna. I'm a product person at heart. I'm the founder of Mind the Product, which is the big community of product people, and also of ProdPad, which is the software for product people. And you know, in my life as a product person, I've done a whole bunch of mentoring and consulting and working with product people. A lot of people bring their roadmaps to me as part of my role in ProdPad. And ultimately what it means is that I've seen a lot of roadmaps. So I'm here to, very briefly, tell you how to critique a roadmap, how to spot a good one, how to improve yours as we go. So are you ready? Yeah. Okay. Right, I love a roadmap. Because honestly, show me a roadmap and I can probably tell you what's wrong with your company. It's a real tool for being able to dive in and show off what's working, what's not working. Like if you don't have a roadmap to show me, maybe that sort of tells me that there's a lack of vision or alignment. Or if it's a roadmap that's been made by your predecessor or your sales team or your boss and not by you, then maybe that's a sign that there's a lack of autonomy. Or if it's a whole bunch of features and no room for experimentation, it's just this list of things to go do, maybe there's a lack of psychological safety, right? Are you allowed to speak up and say, hey, should we put this on here? Does this actually make sense? So let's look at some of the things that we can do to understand roadmaps more. All right, so one of the faux pas of road mapping is when you've got a roadmap that looks like this. This is a timeline roadmap, and the big faux pas here is the timeline at the top that's always running forwards. What it means is that no matter what you put on that roadmap, no matter where it sits, it always has a due date and a duration. You're penalizing yourself by using a date-driven roadmap. What it means is that everything you put on that roadmap, regardless of where it sits, has to have some sort of due date or deadline. Now realistically, sometimes there are deadlines we have to work to, right? We don't live in la la land. But it doesn't mean having to put dates on everything and being beholden to a format that looks like this so that you're always trucking forward and never having the chance to sort of look outside and figure out, is this even the right stuff? So an alternative is the now, next, later format. And I love the now, next, later because the big thing that it does, it takes away that timeline at the top, right? It just means that not everything underneath it has to have this strict due date. Right? You can't put December as your due date on something. You don't even know how big your team's going to be in December, let alone how fast you're able to deliver. So use the time horizon format to say, here's what's in front of us. Let's be more granular. And here's what's further away. And if there are dates, again, we don't live in la la land. Sometimes I was talking to somebody earlier who works in a regulatory banking type space. There's probably due dates out there, right? But it doesn't mean put them on every card. Put them on the cards that need to be communicated and then leave the rest out. That gives you some flexibility where needed. All right, anybody here prioritizing at the idea level using things like RICE or weighted scoring algorithms, right? These things can kind of throw you off track, right? But they make it feel like you're doing product management. There's no problem with giving scores, right? If you're able to say, you know, that we understand that this has a good impact, this one has a good effort, this one's, you know, we're confident in this, that's great. The problem comes when you try to take these estimations of numbers and then multiply them together, do some sort of algorithm, math, something, and then trust the algorithm to tell you the order in which to work on things. Because if you take one estimation and multiply it with another estimation, you just get more of an estimation. And then what happens is people go, yeah, but this one says it's, you know, scored 82, so therefore we do it first. Like, is it? I mean, there's a lot of things that are unknown in there. So again, what you should be doing is prioritizing at the problem level as opposed to getting tied into the individual ideas, right? Don't try to stack rank 2,000 different things you could do. Instead, take a step back and say, what are the main problems we have? And they should fit on a page that you can communicate to somebody quite easily. You know, the first problem is this. We're doing that in order to reach this objective. The next problem is this. The next problem after that is this, right? Prioritize at the boulder level. Move the big rocks first and then break them down into smaller pieces, and it becomes a lot easier to get a clear prioritization. All right, another faux pas. Are you focusing on features rather than experiments, right? Now, there's nothing wrong with building features, right? A lot of the work that we do does involve features, right? We're putting new code out there. But actually, I like to reframe this and think about what you're building as experiments. Now, sometimes the work that you're doing, an experiment you're running is, well, we think that if we build this feature, it's going to help us solve this problem and therefore reach this goal. Cool. But sometimes the experiment is, well, what if we change this feature? Or what if we take this feature away? When was the last time anybody removed a feature as an experiment? Right? And experiments don't even have to be feature related at all, right? And a feature could be, let's change the pricing of this page. Let's change the packaging. Let's change the way we talk about it on the homepage. Those are all experiments you can run that can change the way that the product works, that you're reaching your goals, and actually means that not all of your work has to be just lined up in terms of specs to write to keep the developers busy. Your work should be thinking about how can we get the whole team involved, marketing and everybody basically, to look at the overarching problems and run experiments that will solve the problems for the whole company, as opposed to just shipping new features. All right, another faux pas. If you're hiding your roadmap away, you're not sharing it with people, right? And all of these faux pas, by the way, I have been guilty of at various points, right? That first roadmap I showed you with the timelines, that was basically my old roadmap years ago. So these are all things that I've learned over time. And one of the other ones that I fell foul of is hiding the roadmap, as in not making it visible to other people. Really key thing to remember, and I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice, is that your roadmap is a prototype for your strategy. Right? The prototyping process is incredibly powerful, and we're probably all familiar with it from the designer point of view. Like if you have a new idea for a feature, you don't just run to the developer and start hacking away at it and trying to make something happen, because it's probably not going to solve the problem in the most convincing way. What you do instead is you put it down on a piece of paper or on a Figma board, or make something, right? And you take that piece of paper and you share it with somebody, right? That prototype that you've made, you share it with somebody, and they give you feedback on it, and they tell you whether it needs to be changed. They'll probably say, well, if you change this copy, it'll make it more clear. Or what about changing this button? And you throw out the first version of that prototype, right? You each time you go get feedback on it, you throw out the prototype. The value is not in the prototype. The value is in the prototyping process. And so the roadmap should be similar, except it's prototyping at your strategy level. You're basically saying, here's the big problems that I think we should solve, right? You're just gathering these first assumptions. So then you're going to take this sketchy version of your roadmap, right? This really draft version of your roadmap, and share it with people and say, hey, so I've heard from you and you and you, all these different inputs from different stakeholders. Here's where I think we should go. What do you think? And somebody might come back and give you feedback going, ooh, okay, I don't see it, right? But what about this problem? Or I would consider doing this instead. Or actually, we don't have to do this one because AI solves it now, right? And it means that you can adjust the roadmap before you get to the point of committing to something way ahead of time. Prototyping means that your process strengthens your strategy. And that's what a really good road mapping process should do. A good product manager should lead their team into a good road mapping process rather than get tied into a particular roadmap. But most importantly, sharing that roadmap really early on, right? When you first put it together, get it out there and share it with people. So those are the 4 ways that you can critique your roadmap. I've shoved them all into one slide because the constraint tonight was 10 slides only. I don't have room for a LinkedIn QR code, but I encourage you all to reach out to me anyways, because I'm the only Janna Bastow, I think, in the world, certainly on LinkedIn. So find me on there, connect with me, remind me where it is that you've met me, and that way we can connect the dots. And if anybody wants to hear the story of how the Now, Next, Later roadmap came to be, it actually happened not far from here. So I'd be happy to share that with anybody who wants to talk about it later. And on that note, thank you very much.